The city of Arden Prime never slept. Lights glowing from tall towers and alien ships moving like fireflies across the night sky. But inside a quiet corner of the city, one human man sat alone in a small room he had rented, thinking about how out of place he always felt. His name was Daniel, and to most aliens he was nothing more than a worker, someone hired to fix machines, carry supplies, and then disappear into the background that night. As he cleaned the grease from his hands, a sound at his door made him pause. It wasn't the usual knock of a customer or landlord. It was softer, almost hesitant when he opened the door. What he saw made his heart stop. An alien girl stood there, tall, elegant, with violet skin that shimmered faintly under the light. Her eyes were large and glowing like two moons, and though she carried herself with strength, her voice trembled as she spoke. "Rent me for one night, human," she said. The words cutting through the silence. Daniel thought he had heard wrong. He blinked at her, waiting for her to laugh or explain it was a joke. But she didn't. She just stood there, her lips pressed together as if holding back fear. He tried to respond, but his throat felt dry. "Excuse me?" He finally managed. "You heard me," she whispered, her gaze shifting away for a moment. "Rent me for one night, do with me what you must. Even leave me pregnant if you wish." The words hit him like a hammer. He almost stepped back, his mind racing. Was this some alien trap? Some cruel joke meant to humiliate him? But her voice cracked on the last word, and that tiny weakness made him hesitate. Daniel studied her carefully. She was no common alien worker. Her clothes were woven with golden threads. Her posture betrayed training, and her markings glowed faintly across her neck like those of high-born warriors. She was important, maybe even royalty, but here she was, begging at his door. "Why?" he asked slowly. "Why me?" She lifted her head, and for the first time he saw her eyes fill with tears. "Because I have no choice. My clan demands I give them a child, a strong child. But I will not let them choose one of their males. They only see me as a tool. They do not care for me. They care only for bloodlines, so I chose you, human." Daniel froze, his heart pounding. In this galaxy, humans were usually seen as weak, too soft, too emotional. They were workers, traders, but never warriors. And yet this alien girl had come to him, not any other. "You don't even know me," he said quietly. Her lips curved into a bitter smile. "I know enough. Humans are strange. I have seen you treat even the smallest child with kindness. I have seen you fight machines with your bare hands just to fix them. I have seen you give food to strangers when you had none. My people call you weak. But I know there is something inside you that their warriors will never have." For a moment, the room felt too small, too heavy. Daniel rubbed his forehead. This was insane, absolutely insane. And yet the look in her eyes was not the look of a liar. It was the look of someone desperate, someone standing at the edge of a cliff. "You're asking me to—" He stopped himself, not even sure how to finish the sentence. "Yes," she whispered. "Just one night I will give myself to you. And tomorrow you may leave. No one will stop you. No one will ask questions, but tonight, I need you." Her voice trembled again, but this time she did not look away. She faced him with all the courage of a soldier going to war. Daniel's chest tightened. Something inside him stirred. A mix of anger at her clan for forcing her into this and a strange, burning desire to protect her. He didn't know her, and yet he could see the chains wrapped around her heart. Invisible but heavy, he took a deep breath. The silence stretching long between them. The city outside humming with alien life while inside this little room. The fate of two beings collided. "You could have gone to anyone," he finally said. "But you came to me." "Yes," she answered. "Because I believe you are the only one who will not treat me like property. The only one who will not see me as just a vessel." Daniel's hand trembled slightly, his human heart telling him to slam the door and walk away from this madness, but his soul whispering something else. Whispering that this night was more than what it seemed, that this alien girl's plea was not just about survival. It was about trust, a trust she had placed in him alone, and as he stood there, staring into her glowing eyes, he realized the truth. This was not the beginning of a bargain. This was the beginning of something far more dangerous, far more powerful. For in the galaxy, humans were underestimated, mocked and forgotten, but tonight, one alien girl had chosen a human above her entire clan, and that choice would change everything. Daniel swallowed hard. "Come in," he said at last, his voice steady though his heart raced like thunder. The alien girl stepped forward, the door closing softly behind her, and in that moment, the stars outside seemed to tremble, as if they too sensed the storm about to begin. The night inside that small rented room did not unfold the way Daniel first imagined. He had expected awkward silence, maybe even regret. but instead it was filled with quiet conversations, long pauses, and strange emotions neither of them had planned. The alien girl sat on the edge of the bed, her back straight like a soldier, yet her hands trembled as she tried to calm herself. Daniel did not rush her. He simply sat across from her, studying her face, the glowing markings on her skin, and the way her eyes never seemed to rest. They were full of fear and pride all at once. "What's your name?" he finally asked, breaking the silence. She blinked, as if no one had asked her that before. "Solara," she said softly, her voice carrying a weight heavier than her years. "Solara," Daniel repeated, letting the name linger. "And you already know mine?" She nodded. "I asked around, I made sure. The human who works with machines, the one who helps others even when no one pays him." "I knew it was you," Daniel gave a small, tired smile. "That doesn't sound very wise, choosing a stranger for something so serious." But Solara shook her head, her eyes shining. "To you it feels strange. To me it feels like survival. You don't understand what my clan does if I let them pick for me. They will tie me to a warrior who will treat me like dirt. I will only be used, nothing more. I cannot let that happen." Her words stung Daniel in ways he didn't expect. She wasn't just afraid of her future. She was afraid of losing herself, of becoming an object in her own people's eyes. For a while, silence returned, the city's hum filling the background. Solara's hands rested on her knees, fingers curling and uncurling like she was preparing for battle. Daniel finally stood, walking closer. "You don't need to be afraid," he said quietly. "I won't hurt you, and I won't treat you like a tool." Solara's lips parted slightly, surprise flickering across her face. For the first time, she allowed herself to look at him directly, her glowing eyes searching his as if trying to find truth. "You are different," she whispered. "You speak with no hunger in your voice, no greed in your eyes. Maybe that is why I came here." The air grew heavy, charged with something neither of them could explain. It was not lust that filled the room, but a strange mix of curiosity, respect, and a dangerous kind of hope. Solara reached out slowly, her hand brushing against his. Her skin was warm, almost electric. Daniel did not pull back. Instead, he let her feel that he was real, human, and not the monster her clan warned her about. "You don't have to do this," Daniel said softly, his voice almost a plea. "You can walk away, and I won't tell anyone." Her head shook quickly, determination burning in her eyes now. "No, I must do this. I already chose, and if I don't, they will punish me. They will take away my honor, maybe even my life, so please, Daniel, stay with me tonight." His chest tightened. Her voice broke something inside him, and he realized he could not refuse. Not because of her beauty, not because of her desperation, but because deep down he wanted her to feel safe, to feel human in a way her people had denied her. The hours that followed were unlike anything Daniel had ever known. There were whispers in the dark, questions about Earth, about families, about childhood memories. Solara listened with wide eyes, as if every word painted a world she had never seen. She spoke, too, about her childhood in marble halls, about the weight of carrying her clan's name, about how even as a little girl she was told her only value was to continue the bloodline. Each word from her lips carried sadness, but also fire. A fire that Daniel found himself drawn to, and as the night deepened, the line between human and alien blurred, two souls meeting in a place no one else would understand. At one point, Solara whispered, "Do you think I am wrong for wanting this?" Daniel's hand brushed against her cheek gently. "No, I think you are brave. Braver than anyone I've ever met." Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and for the first time she leaned against him, her head resting on his shoulder, her body trembling not from fear but from relief. Outside, the city continued its endless movement, but inside that small room, time slowed. The weight of tradition, bloodlines, and duty faded for a few hours, leaving only two beings who had found comfort in each other. But as dawn's light began to sneak through the window, reality crept back. Solara pulled away slightly, her eyes troubled. "When morning comes, you must leave," she said, her voice firm but shaking. "This was only one night. You cannot stay." Daniel looked at her. His heart heavy, he wanted to argue, but he saw the fear in her eyes again, the invisible chains tightening around her. He only nodded slowly. "One night," he repeated, though deep inside, he already knew this was not the end. Solara stood, her figure tall against the pale light, and whispered, "Thank you, human, you gave me more than I asked for. You gave me hope." But as she turned away, Daniel's mind echoed with one thought. This was not just one night. This was the beginning of something far more dangerous, something that neither of them could escape. And in the shadows of the city, where whispers carried faster than wind, someone was already watching, already waiting. The sun rose over Ardun Prime, painting the city towers in gold and silver. But inside Daniel's small room, the air felt heavy with silence. Solara had already left before dawn, her steps light but hurried, like someone running away from danger. Daniel sat alone, staring at the empty bed. The faint glow of her markings still imprinted in his mind. He told himself it was finished. Just one night, like she had said, no more. But his heart refused to believe it. Something about her words, her trembling hands, and the way she whispered her fears had carved deep into him. Days passed. Daniel returned to his work, repairing machines and carrying supplies through the alien city, but his mind never left her. Every face in the crowd reminded him of Solara's glowing eyes. Every whisper in the market seemed to speak her name. Then one evening, as he was leaving the docks, a shadow appeared in front of him. Solara stood there, her hood pulled low, her shoulders tense. "You shouldn't be here," Daniel said softly, surprised but unable to hide his relief. "I had to find you," she whispered, pulling him quickly into a narrow alley where no one could see. Her hands trembled as she lifted her hood, her face pale, her markings dim. "Daniel, I carry life inside me." For a moment the world stopped, the sounds of the city faded. Daniel could only stare, his chest tightening. "You mean?" he began, his voice unsteady. "Yes," she whispered, her hands pressing gently against her stomach, her eyes wide and uncertain. "I am pregnant, your child. A child of human and alien blood." Daniel's mind raced. Part of him wanted to laugh in disbelief. Another part wanted to run, but instead he reached out, his hand resting over hers, feeling the warmth of her skin. "Are you sure?" Solara nodded, tears forming in her eyes. "I know I can feel it, and soon my clan will know too. They will see me not as free, but as a vessel that carries something different, something they may fear." Daniel felt a wave of anger. "They forced you into this, and now they'll punish you for choosing me." Solara shook her head quickly. "Not punish, no, worse. They will try to take the child. They will raise it as their own, strip it of anything human, and they will cast you aside like you never existed." Her voice cracked. The weight of her fear breaking through, she leaned closer, whispering as if the shadows themselves were listening. "They already suspect me. The elders watch me. They know I did not follow their plan. They know I chose for myself." Daniel clenched his fists. He wanted to protect her, to fight them. But how could one human stand against an entire clan of warriors? "Solara, you can't do this alone," he said firmly. "You need me. Let me help you." Her eyes widened at his words, as if she had expected him to walk away, as if she thought his promise ended with the dawn. But instead, here he was, standing by her side. For a brief moment, hope flickered in her gaze, but then she looked away, her voice breaking. "If you stay, they will come for you and they will kill you, Daniel. You don't understand. To them, you are nothing. Less than nothing." Daniel stepped closer, his voice steady. "Then let them try, but I won't abandon you. Not now." The alley grew colder, the silence heavier. Solara's lips parted as if to argue, but then she closed her mouth, her eyes shimmering. "You are mad, human. Mad and reckless," she whispered, but her voice carried a trembling note of relief. Before either of them could speak again, a sound echoed from the end of the alley. Armored footsteps, heavy and sharp. Solara stiffened, grabbing Daniel's arm. "They've found us," she hissed, pulling him deeper into the shadows. 3 alien guards appeared, their eyes scanning the streets, their armor glowing faintly. Daniel's heart raced. He had no weapon, no way to fight, but Solara pressed close to him, whispering quickly, "Do not speak, do not move. They will smell your fear." The guards paused, their strange alien tongues muttering words Daniel couldn't understand. But their tone was clear. Suspicion. Solara held her breath, her hand gripping Daniel's tightly, and after what felt like forever, the guards moved on, their heavy steps fading into the distance. Daniel exhaled slowly, his chest tight. "They're hunting you," he said softly. "Not me," Solara corrected, her eyes dark with fear. "Us. They are hunting us now." The truth struck him like a blade. This was no longer her fight alone. It was theirs. Solara pulled her hood back on, her voice urgent. "We cannot meet like this again. Not here, they will find out, and if they do, nothing will save us." Daniel grabbed her wrist before she could leave. "Then tell me what to do, tell me where to go, and I'll follow." Her eyes searched his face, Torn between fear and longing, finally, she whispered. Tomorrow night beyond the city in the ruins near the old starship yard. Wait for me there. She pulled away quickly, disappearing into the crowd before he could say another word, leaving Daniel standing alone, his heart pounding, his mind burning with questions. As the night fell over Arden Prime, Daniel realized the truth. This was no longer about one night, no longer about survival. It was about a future none of them understood, a future that could change everything. And somewhere in the high halls of the alien clan, elders already whispered, already plotting, already deciding the fate of the unborn child that carried both human and alien blood. The old starship yard lay outside the glowing city, its broken metal frames rising like skeletons of forgotten giants, rust eating through their bones, the wind whistling through cracks where engines once roared. Daniel waited in the shadows, his heart beating faster with every sound. He had arrived early, not trusting the alien guards who hunted them. The ruins were silent, only the faint hum of the distant city filling the air. But his thoughts were louder than the silence. He kept asking himself, what had he stepped into? What would happen if the elders truly discovered the child? At last, footsteps echoed softly across the broken ground. Solara emerged from the darkness, her hood low, her cloak brushing against the metal debris. She looked more fragile than before, but her eyes burned with determination. You came, Daniel said softly, relief washing through him. I had to, she whispered, moving closer, her hand resting protectively on her stomach. But we don't have much time, they already know something is wrong. The elders watch me more closely every day. It is only a matter of time before they drag me before the council. Daniel clenched his fists. And what will they do? Solara's face twisted with anger and sorrow. They will claim the child as theirs, strip it of any trace of you, and they will cast you aside, maybe even kill you so no one will remember. To them, you are nothing more than a seed that must be erased. Her words made Daniel's stomach twist. He stepped forward, his voice steady but fierce. No, Solara. I won't let them, not to you, not to our child. Her lips trembled, the first crack in her armor of pride. She looked away. You don't understand. Daniel, this is bigger than us. My clan has ruled for centuries. Their word is law. I am nothing compared to them. Even as their warrior daughter, I am nothing but a vessel. Daniel reached for her hand, gripping it firmly. You are not nothing. And you are not alone anymore. For a moment her eyes softened, hope flickering where despair had lived for too long. But before she could answer, a voice echoed across the ruins, deep and mocking. Well, so it is true. Solara froze, her body stiff. Daniel spun around. 3 figures stepped from the shadows, cloaked in heavy armor, their glowing eyes sharp like blades. Alien guards behind them walked a taller figure, his markings brighter, his presence heavy with authority. Solara of the Velan clan, the tall alien spoke, his voice sharp as steel. You dare break tradition? You dare lower yourself to lie with a human? Solara's face paled, but she held her ground, her voice steady. I chose for myself. It is my right. The alien laughed coldly. Your right? You have no right, only duty, and you have failed it. His gaze shifted to Daniel, full of disgust. And you, human, you should have stayed in the dirt where you belong. Daniel stepped closer to Solara, his jaw tight. I don't care what you think. She chose me. Not you, the alien sneered. You think her choice matters? You think you can protect her? One night of passion does not make you a warrior. Human, it makes you a fool. Solara's eyes burned. She stepped in front of Daniel, her voice sharp. Do not call him a fool. He is braver than all of you. He has more honor than your warriors who only see women as tools. Gasps filled the air. Even the guards stiffened. No one spoke to an elder that way. Daniel felt pride swell in his chest, but also fear. The elder's face twisted in rage. His voice thundered, You will be punished for this shame. And the child, he paused, his lips curling. The child will be taken, raised as Velan, its human blood erased. Solara's hand shot to her stomach protectively, her eyes wide with horror. Daniel's blood boiled. He stepped forward, his voice sharp. Over my dead body. The elder smirked. That can be arranged, he gestured. And the guards stepped forward, their weapons glowing. Solara grabbed Daniel's arm, whispering urgently, Run, please. They will kill you if you fight. You cannot win. But Daniel shook his head, his voice low but firm. I will not run, not from them. Not from anyone. The first guard lunged. Daniel moved on instinct, grabbing a piece of broken metal from the ground and swinging it with all his strength. The clash rang out, sparks flying as alien weapon met human scrap. Solara cried out, but Daniel held his ground, his heart pounding, his body burning with adrenaline. He wasn't trained, he wasn't a soldier, but he refused to bow. The elder watched, amused. Pathetic. You think this changes anything? But Solara's voice rang out, fierce and unshaken. It changes everything. He fights not because he must, but because he chooses. That is something none of you will ever understand. Her words silenced even the guards for a moment. Daniel staggered, blood on his lip. But he stood tall, his eyes burning with defiance. The elder's smirk faded, his gaze narrowing. Very well, human, if you wish to stay, then you will face the trial of loyalty. Survive, and you may claim her. Fail, and both you and the child will be erased from history. Daniel's breath caught. Solara's face went pale. She whispered, "No, please, don't." But Daniel looked at the elder, his voice strong. "I accept." Solara's cry echoed through the ruins. But Daniel did not waver. In that moment he had made his choice. He would not run, he would not hide. He would fight for her, for their child, even if it meant standing against an empire. And the night wind carried the weight of his words across the broken yard, a storm of destiny gathering above them all. The night after the ruins felt like a blur to Daniel, his mind replaying the elder's voice over and over. You will face the trial of loyalty. He hadn't even known what that meant. But he had seen the fear in Solara's eyes, and that was enough to tell him the trial was no simple test. Solara sat across from him now, in the hidden chamber beneath the old starship yard, her cloak wrapped tightly around her shoulders, her glowing eyes fixed on him, but not with anger, only with sorrow. "You shouldn't have agreed," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You don't know what you've done. The trial is not meant for humans, it is a death sentence." Daniel leaned forward, his voice calm but steady. "I couldn't let him take you away. Solara or our child, if I had said no, they would have dragged you off and erased me from history. At least this way, we have a chance." Her hands shook as she pressed them against her stomach. "A chance? Daniel, you don't understand. The trial of loyalty is designed to crush even warriors of my people. It breaks them until nothing is left. You are flesh and bone, human flesh. You won't survive." Daniel reached out, gently covering her trembling hands with his own. "Maybe I'm not as strong as them. Maybe I'm not fast. But there's one thing I have that they'll never understand. I won't quit. Not for you, not for our child." For a moment, silence hung between them. Solara's lips parted as if to argue, but her eyes filled with tears. Tears she tried to blink away. Finally she whispered, "Why? Why would you risk everything for me?" Daniel smiled faintly, though his chest ached with fear. "Because you didn't treat me like dirt, because you trusted me when no one else would, and because—" "I don't want to walk away, Solara, not anymore." Her breath caught, her throat tightening. In her world, words like these were rare. No warrior male would ever whisper them. No one had ever told her they would stay by choice. "You are mad," she murmured. But her voice softened. "Mad and reckless. But your madness is the only light I have left." Before either of them could say more, the chamber door creaked open. Armored guards entered, their weapons gleaming. "It is time," one said coldly, his gaze full of disdain as it swept over Daniel. Solara stood quickly, her body tense. "No, he is not ready. He needs him," but the guard cut her off. "The trial waits for no one if he fails. It proves his loyalty was nothing but words." Daniel rose, his heart pounding, but he held Solara's gaze firmly. "Don't worry. I'll come back to you." Her lips trembled, but she said nothing, only watching as the guards pulled him away, her eyes wide with fear. The trial grounds lay beneath the great hall of the clan, a circular arena carved from black stone, lit by glowing torches that flickered against the walls. The air smelled of sweat, blood, and old dust. Rows of alien warriors filled the seats above, their eyes glowing in the dark, hungry to watch the human fail. At the center stood the elder, his markings shining brighter than ever, his voice booming across the arena. "This human dares claim loyalty to one of our blood. Then let him prove it before us all. The trial of loyalty begins now." Daniel stepped into the circle, his heart racing but his jaw set firm. He felt their eyes stabbing into him, waiting for him to break, to fall. The first challenge was brought forward. Two massive alien beasts, chained and growling, their fangs dripping with venom. The chains snapped, and the creatures charged. The crowd roared. Solara gasped from her hidden corner where she watched, her hands clutching the stone rail. Daniel stood frozen for a heartbeat. Then he remembered the machines he had fixed, the tricks he had learned. He grabbed a broken spear from the ground, rolling aside as the first beast lunged. The spear snapped in half, but the jagged end pierced the beast's neck. Hot blood sprang across the arena. The second beast circled. Faster, meaner. Daniel's chest heaved, his arms trembling, but he refused to drop. He dodged again, grabbing a fallen chain, wrapping it around the creature's throat, pulling with every ounce of strength. His muscles burned, his lungs screamed, but at last, the beast collapsed with a thunderous crash. The crowd fell silent for a moment, shock spreading like fire. The elder's voice thundered. "This is only the beginning." Solara's eyes filled with tears. Her chest tight, she wanted to scream for him to stop. But Daniel stood tall, his lip bleeding, his body shaking, yet his eyes blazing with defiance. More challenges would come, fire, blades. Illusions of fear meant to break his spirit, but in that moment, everyone saw something they had never expected. The human did not fall. The human did not beg. The human fought with a loyalty so fierce it made even warriors shift uneasily in their seats. Solara whispered under her breath, her hand pressed against her stomach. "Stay alive, Daniel. Stay alive for us." And though the night stretched long and brutal, Daniel's voice echoed in her mind, the words that had made her tremble. "I won't quit, not for you, not for our child." The trial of loyalty did not end with beasts. That was only the first step. Daniel stood in the center of the arena, his chest heaving, sweat mixing with blood. The crowd above roared and hissed, some cheering for his death, others whispering in disbelief that he had survived the first challenge. The elder raised his hand, silencing the noise, his glowing eyes fixed on Daniel. "A beast can be killed by luck," he said coldly, "but true loyalty is tested in pain." At his signal, the guards dragged forward a massive stone frame covered in burning coals. The heat radiated through the air, filling Daniel's lungs with fire. Chains hung from the frame, sharp hooks at the end. Solara's breath caught in her throat. She knew this part of the trial. She had seen proud warriors fail here. Men twice Daniel's size screaming until their voices broke. The elder's voice rang out. "Step forward, human. Show us if your flesh can endure, if your loyalty can survive flame and iron." Daniel's body screamed in protest, but he stepped forward, his jaw tight. He let the guards chain his wrists, the hooks biting into his skin, the pain sharp but controlled. Then the frame tilted, lowering him closer to the burning coals. Heat seared his back, his skin blistering, the stench of flesh rising into the air. The crowd cheered, expecting his screams, but Daniel bit down hard, his teeth grinding, refusing to give them the sound of his weakness. Solara's hands trembled as she pressed them against her mouth, tears slipping down her cheeks. "Please, Daniel, don't break," she whispered. The elder leaned forward, his lips curling. "Speak, human, cry out. Admit you are nothing." Daniel's eyes burned, his body shaking, but through gritted teeth he forced out words. "I am not nothing," he rasped. "I am her choice, I am her shield, and I will not quit." Gasps rippled through the crowd, some muttering in shock, others sneering in rage. The elder's eyes narrowed, frustration flashing across his face. At last the chains lifted. Daniel collapsed onto the stone floor, his back raw and burned, his breathing ragged. Yet he pushed himself onto his knees, his head raised, his eyes still alive with fire. Solara's chest swelled with both pride and agony, her heart breaking to see him suffer, but shining at his refusal to bow. The elder motioned again. "Enough," he said coldly. "Let us see if his mind is as strong as his body." The floor of the arena shifted, strange alien machines rising, glowing crystals that pulsed with light. The air shimmered and Daniel's vision blurred. Suddenly he was no longer in the arena, but standing in a burning village, screams filling the air. It was an illusion, a test of fear. Solara knew it well. The crystals dug into the deepest mind, pulling out terrors, showing visions that broke even hardened warriors. Daniel stumbled, the smell of smoke choking him. The sight of earth flashing before his eyes, his childhood home, his family all burning. A voice whispering, "You failed them. Just as you will fail her. Just as you will fail the child." His knees buckled, his chest tightening. Shadows of twisted alien warriors surrounded him, their blades dripping with blood, voices chanting, "Weak human, weak human." He almost fell, almost believed it. But then another voice broke through, soft and trembling, yet stronger than the flames, Solara's voice, echoing in his mind. "Stay alive, Daniel. Stay alive for us." His fists clenched. He screamed into the illusion, "I will not fail her." And with that, the vision cracked. The flames vanished, the shadows scattered. Daniel fell to his knees in the arena once more. Drenched in sweat but unbroken, the crowd was silent, stunned. Never before had a human shattered the trial's illusions. Even warriors of the clan had fallen screaming. Solara pressed her hands against her stomach, her tears falling freely now, whispering to the child, "Do you see? Your father is stronger than all of them." The elder's face twisted in rage, his voice thundering. "This means nothing. One final test remains." The guards dragged forward a massive blade, taller than Daniel, its edge glowing with alien fire. They planted it into the ground, the sound ringing like thunder. The elder pointed at Solara suddenly, his voice cruel. "If he is truly loyal, let him prove it. He will raise this blade and swear before us all that he belongs to her and her alone. But if he cannot lift it, then he is no warrior, no protector, just a weak parasite clinging to her honor," the crowd roared. Solara's heart stopped. She knew the blade. It was forged of heavy core metal. Even alien warriors strained to lift it. For a human, it was impossible. Daniel staggered forward. His body burned, his arms trembling. Every step heavy, he stood before the blade, its glow reflecting in his eyes. Solara whispered desperately, "Please, Daniel, don't try, they'll kill you." But Daniel smiled faintly, blood on his lips. "I told you I won't quit." He wrapped his hands around the blade's hilt, every muscle screaming as he pulled, his arms shaking, his back straining, the crowd chanting, half mocking, half fearful. The blade groaned, shifting slightly, sparks flying. Daniel roared, pulling with everything inside him. Not just muscle, but will, not just will, but love for Solara, for their child, for the promise he had made. And then, slowly, impossibly, the blade lifted, rising from the stone, glowing brighter as if recognizing his fire. The arena fell silent. Not a single voice dared to speak. Solara gasped, her knees buckling as relief flooded her, her tears unstoppable. Daniel held the blade high, his body shaking but his eyes blazing. "I will stay," he whispered fiercely, "forever." And in that moment, even the stars above seemed to tremble, as if the galaxy itself knew something had just changed. The arena was frozen in silence, every eye fixed on the impossible sight before them. A human, battered and burned, holding aloft the sacred blade of the Valon clan. The fire in its core reflected in Daniel's eyes, his body shaking yet unbroken. The elder's lips curled, his voice trembling with anger. "This is a trick. No human should lift the blade of core, it is not possible." But even as he spoke, the blade glowed brighter, as if answering Daniel's spirit. The crowd, once jeering, now murmured with unease, whispers rippling like waves. The human lifted it. No warrior could endure what he endured. What does this mean? Solara's hands covered her mouth, tears streaming freely, her heart racing. She had prayed, begged in silence, and now she saw it. Daniel had done the impossible. He had faced beasts, fire, illusions, and now the sacred blade, and still he stood. Daniel's voice cracked through the silence, low but fierce. "I am no warrior of your clan. I am no elder of your halls. I am just a human, but I chose her and I chose this child. And nothing you do will ever tear us apart," his words echoed, his grip tight on the blade, the glow casting shadows across the walls. Solara stepped forward from her hidden place, no longer caring who saw, her hood falling back, her glowing eyes blazing with pride. "You all call him weak, you call him dirt. Yet he has done what your proud warriors could not. He is stronger than your laws, stronger than your chains, and stronger than your hatred." The warriors above shifted, unease in their glowing eyes. The crowd divided, half furious, half awed. The elder slammed his staff down, the sound cracking through the arena. "Silence. This means nothing. He is still human, he cannot be trusted, his blood taints her womb, the child will be a curse." But even as his words rang out, a younger warrior rose from the crowd, his voice steady. "No curse survives the trial. Elder, only truth, and the truth is clear. The human is loyal, more loyal than any of us." Another voice rose, then another, warriors muttering in agreement, the tide shifting, the authority of the elder cracking under the weight of Daniel's defiance. Solara moved to Daniel's side, slipping her arm around his trembling body, her eyes shining. "You did it," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You survived when no one believed." Daniel leaned against her, exhausted but smiling faintly. "I told you, Solara, I won't quit, not for you, not for our child." The elder's rage boiled, his markings flaring bright. But he could see it. The people were no longer fully his. Whispers of doubt grew louder, seeds of rebellion blooming, all because of one human who refused to bow. "You think you have won?" The elder hissed, his voice low. "Dangerous, and then hear me, human, stay if you dare. But your every breath will be a challenge, your every step a war. This clan will never truly accept you. Daniel's eyes burned with quiet fire. His voice steady. Then let it be war, because I am not leaving. Solara tightened her grip on him, her chin raised high. And neither am I. We choose each other, not your laws. The crowd erupted. Some shouting fury, others cheering. The arena trembling with noise, but through it all, Daniel and Solara stood together, their hands entwined, their hearts steady. Later, when the fires of the trial had faded and the night grew quiet, Daniel sat with Solara in the shadows of the ruined yard once more, his body bandaged, his breath heavy. She pressed against him, her head resting on his shoulder. You should have died tonight, she whispered, her voice a mix of fear and awe. But you didn't. You stayed, Daniel smiled faintly, his voice soft but firm. I told you, Solara. One night was never enough. I'm staying forever. Her tears slipped silently, her lips trembling into a smile. Forever. No one in my world ever says that. They speak of duty, not choice, but you. You chose me. He kissed the top of her head gently, his burned hands trembling as they rested over hers, over the small life growing inside her. I chose both of you, he whispered, and I'll keep choosing no matter what comes. Above them, the stars glittered, cold and distant, but tonight they seemed brighter, as if bearing witness to something rare, a bond that defied bloodlines, clans, and even destiny. The galaxy would not forget this night, the night when a human, once mocked and overlooked, stood in the fire of alien judgment and walked out with blade in hand, his loyalty unbroken, his love unshaken. And though enemies still plotted, though the Elder's rage burned like poison, Daniel and Solara knew the truth. The fight ahead would be long and brutal, but they had already won the hardest battle, the battle of choosing each other. For in a universe of cold traditions and merciless power, a human had whispered words no law could break. I will stay forever. And Solara believed him.